Welcome back, Travis Davidson, to the Gridiron Expert, where we are here to talk about the 4-0 start to the Oklahoma Sooner 2025 football season, as well as the current situation with John Mateer. So we'll get started right off with the John Mateer situation, Travis. What is there to take away here? Are there any concerns? Do you think that this is something that you can just kind of take with a grain of salt in terms of the availability? Like, is he going to be out 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks? What are your thoughts about this entire situation?
Yeah, I think first of all, thank you for having me back. It's always good to see you. Always good to be on with you. Always good to talk a little Sooner football. So with John Mateer, I don't know, it's a bit frustrating because everybody wants a timeline. Everybody wants to know, is it a month? Is it 6 weeks? And the reality is there's 27 bones in the hand. Each one of those bones can be injured to an infinite degree, and different doctors, different biology. I mean, there's just going to be people that handle surgery differently, handle recovery differently. And so I think I'm the only one that's not trying to speculate on whether he's going to be back by Texas or whether he's not going to be back by Texas. Now, somebody might be like, okay, well, if he played 3.5 quarters against Auburn and played well with a bone in his hand broken, then it would stand to reason that maybe, and that was before halftime, he had to have come down a little bit at halftime, at least, adrenaline wise, and then went back out there and played the best part of the game in the second half. So you could get to a conspiracy theory of saying the only way he would have this operation is if he could be back soon. But I just think it has been a large waste of time. And honestly, like, not helpful at all when people are like, well, I had a hand injury when I was in high school and it took me 6 weeks. It's like, okay, like that doesn't matter at all. So, like, everybody that's trying to be the expert on this, and I know everybody wants to be first, it's the media. I get it. I'm a member of it. But like, there are certain things when it comes to injuries, like, just let the surgery happen. We haven't even got an update about how the surgery went. They could have cut his hand off for all I know. Like, we have no idea who the surgery went. So, all these reporters and everybody saying, "Hey, I need you to tell me a timetable right now." Nobody, not even the doctor knows the timetable right now. And if Dr. Shin, God bless him, if he doesn't know the timetable, then nobody does. But Oklahoma's ready to move forward with Michael Hawkins Jr. against Kent State after our bye week this week. And then if he needs to start against Texas, cool. I mean, Michael Hawkins, started games last year. He won Oklahoma's first ever SEC game on the road at Auburn. He completed a 60-yard pass in that game and ran for 69 yards for another touchdown. So, I mean, the guy's been there. He's developed under Ben Arbuckle. He was not put in the best situation last year, given the offensive line woes and the coordinator, the play calling woes, the developmental woes, and then the wide receivers being out. He was really set up to fail a year ago, as was Jackson Arnold, to be honest. But with Michael Hawkins, he's in a completely different situation now. He's better than he was a year ago, and every single aspect of the offensive machine is better. Not to mention the defense is better. So I think Oklahoma feels like they're in pretty good shape. Has one of the better backup quarterbacks in the country. So we'll see if John can play. John will play. If not, I don't think it's full panic mode around here yet.
So speaking of the Texas game upcoming and how John Mateer, Michael Hawkins, how they fit into the offense. We appreciate you being on with the channel, a few months ago previewing Oklahoma's roster. You did a really good job with that. And so now we're going to kind of go back to that and what the outlook is in the short term here with the John Mateer injury. So far this season, obviously the defense has been fantastic. They've been able to rush the passer with a lot of their front four. And the secondary, as we talked about, had a lot of guys that they could count on. The defense wasn't really the biggest question for Oklahoma, and it wasn't last year, obviously. So we figured the defense would give the team at least a high floor. So now with Mateer being out, my question to you is, does the offense change a ton? Because I think the majority of the rushing attack that we've seen from OU's offense has come from Mateer and what he's able to do as a dual threat quarterback. Obviously, Hawkins has a lot of dual threat capabilities as well. So, do you have any worry about the offensive line, or do you think that they just kind of pick up where they left off now with Hawkins under center.
Yeah, I think the offensive line will be better than it's been all year. I think you get a healthy Fasusi back at left tackle. You've obviously got a battle going in the guard positions. Fabechi seems to be consistent there, but Foje's trying to come for Heath Ozaida's spot. Even if Heath Ozaida loses a spot for whatever reason, then they'd probably slide Fabechi over to the left guard. Put Foje over at right guard just so you don't have two true freshmen next to each other. But I feel like the offensive line, again, is going to be in better shape than it's been in because they're coming off a bye week and Kent State. And then you get Giovanni Gibson back with the wide receiver room. Giovanni Gibson had most people thinking that he was going to lead the team in touchdowns in fall camp. He goes down. He's finally back and healthy. He's going to play against Kent State. And then you get Eli Bowen back on the defense, a freshman All-American from a year ago at corner. So when you look at, how the offense changes with Michael Hawkins, he's obviously got that, dual threat capability. He's got elite speed. He can throw the deep ball. He can do everything that Arbuckle needs him to do. Now, has he been playing in the offense as long as John Mateer? Of course not. But he's got physical upside that I don't think Oklahoma necessarily has with John Mateer. And not to say that John Mateer's a statue back there. He obviously runs the ball incredibly well. But Michael Hawkins is just kind of a different kind of athlete than John Mateer. So I don't think he's just going to tuck it and run it all day. I mean, this isn't going to be the Wildcat by any stretch of the imagination. But you've gotten better everywhere around Michael Hawkins with this offense. And Ben Arbuckle is already on every on-3 graphic when it comes to the UCLA job opening or the OSU job opening or whatever. Like, there's a reason this guy's already on those graphics. Is because he's one of the best offensive coordinators in the country. So I think he's got 2 weeks, well, 3 weeks to prepare really with the game, 17 days away. I mean, you've got time to prepare with Michael Hawkins Jr. and develop Michael Hawkins Jr., get a game plan ready that plays to his strengths. I think a lot of people looked at the Temple game and they're like, he came in with the backups in the fourth quarter and they're like, oh, he didn't look like a, world beater. It's like, yeah, that's not a game plan that's designed for him. He's with the backups. Like, it is what it is. Like,
And they were already ahead by a lot. It's not like they have to keep their
right,
foot on the gas
judge him
completely.
with the starters. So I think they're pretty comfortable with Michael Hawkins as a staff.
And speaking of Hawkins, so he played against Navy in this past year's bowl game. He looked really good there through a lot of that game, and I think the commentators even referred to him as like Houdini. The way he was able to pull off a lot of those plays in the first quarter, he had a lot of highlights. There was a brief part like the second and third quarter. It felt like Navy just hogged the clock. It felt like OU's offense was like never on the field. In the fourth quarter, he was able to lead that late touchdown drive and give Oklahoma an opportunity to win it there at the end with the 2-point conversion that Navy's defense was able to stop the Sooner offense there from converting. But he looked really good and he had a lot of highlight plays. So obviously, Travis, this isn't like a huge regression in terms of the athletic ability. This is still a guy that has a ton of athleticism and someone that's able to make something happen when it's not there. And he's gonna probably have to do that against Texas if he's the starter against Texas, because obviously Texas has one of the top defenses in the country, if not the best.
Right. That's why I think that game is going to be like a 10-7 or like a 13-10 type situation. Like, I think that's going to be a slugfest. I think it's going to be special teams, that saves the day, or penalties. If we think back to the Texas Ohio State game, really Texas penalties extending Ohio State drives is what cost them that game, right? So, if you've got to play that game clean, you've got to make your field goals when you have an opportunity to put points on the board. You've got to catch all your punts. You've got to hit big booming punts. You've got to cleanly punt the ball. You've got to do all those things, not give up the big plays in that Texas game. But also with Michael Hawkins Jr., if we think of quarterbacks like ingredients, right? Like, really, if Ben Arbuckle is the chef, the highest rated quarterback he's ever worked with is Michael Hawkins Jr. Cam Ward, number 1 pick. He had him, balling lights out at Washington State. He could have gone to the NFL then if he wanted. Obviously cashed in, went to Miami, then went number 1. John Mateer led the country in total touchdowns a year ago, and he was the Heisman front runner through 4 weeks in Vegas. So, Michael Hawkins they're the best ingredients he's ever cooked with. So I have no doubt that Arbuckle is going to unlock some things with the offense with Michael Hawkins, whether that be in the run game, whether that be in the deep passing game, things like that. I really think I'm excited for Ben Arbuckle to cook with the ingredients he has in Michael Hawkins Jr.
So you were just discussing there some of the things that we could expect to see with Hawkins under center there for the Sooners. I guess ultimately, what is your expectation? Does your expectation change at all with Hawkins compared to Mateer? I mean, they obviously Hawkins. We just got done talking for like the last several minutes, hyping this guy up. A lot of he has a high ceiling here. So what is your ultimate expectation here for Hawkins for the short term here?
I mean, the short term, I expect to beat Kent State and then take a 5-0 record into Dallas. And if you can, even if you can split those next two, I mean, you're sitting at 6-1 as you head into, the last 5 games of your schedule that are very tough. Ole Miss, Tennessee, Missouri, Alabama, LSU. But, John Mateer was dealing with a little bit of a knee thing as well that needs some rest. If you have the opportunity where Michael Hawkins can just get to a point where he goes 2-1 as a starter or 1-1 as a starter, anything like that, before John Mateer comes back, I think you're in really good shape as far as the long-term outlook of the team because you've got this bye week and then your worst opponent on the schedule and then Texas. You've got a lot of time right here to prepare for Texas, to prepare Michael Hawkins Jr. for Texas, knowing that you're not really going to have much of a fight at Kent State.
And this is something that you and I talked about a few months ago. We were saying how could Oklahoma go from a losing record to making the college football playoff? And you and I both said that was a really good chance of happening for a couple of reasons. One, obviously the quality of Oklahoma. Who is Oklahoma? Well, in 2024, you kind of take their record with a grain of salt because of all the injuries, but they still obviously had a high floor. It's not like they were a non-competitive 500 team going into the postseason. This was a team that was kind of like held back. It's like they were playing with one hand tied behind their back, and they were still competitive in a lot of their games. And now you flip the switch to 2025. You get your quarterback. You're healthier on the offensive line. You're a little bit more experienced on the offense. The receiving core. Cross your fingers. Right, we were knocking on wood. We were like, there's no way they can be as many injuries in the receiver room this year. So we felt like Oklahoma could improve who Oklahoma is. But also, when you look at it nationally, we figured there's going to be some chaos this year. There was not a ton of knowns at the top of college football. A lot of new quarterbacks, a lot of younger teams at the top in terms of the most talented teams. And then you look at the SEC. We thought the SEC could have some 2 and 3 lost teams, and so also thought with the SEC getting a little bit of maybe some benefit of the doubt when it comes to those rankings towards the end of the year that Oklahoma, even if they were to have 2 or 3 losses, could still sneak into the college football playoff. And so, my last question to you, Travis, does the overall picture here of the 2025 season for OU change at all in your mind?
No, I don't think so. I think like I said, the whole plan was to go into Texas at 5-0. If you the plan before was, hey, if you can split Texas and South Carolina doesn't look as good as I thought they would be. Now they're still a really good team with a lot of talent, Norris Sellers and Dylan Stewart and Nick Harbor and these guys. Like they've still got immense talent. Nobody nobody's pedestrian talent wise in the SEC. So that'll be a tough game on the road, obviously. But I mean, you look at some of these teams, Alabama, not the Alabama of old, but I do like what Ty Simpson's doing over there. You look at Missouri, they're putting up a lot of numbers. Well, they struggled a bit with South Carolina, who again I don't think is that good of a football team this year. But we'll see what they are, kind of down the road. We'll see who can stay healthy, who's built up the depth. I think the defense at Oklahoma gives them an opportunity that really the offense it gives them a long leash. I don't think the defense, even on a couple busts, really outside of that, the defense has been tremendous. So I think that raises your floor to almost like an 8-win floor, maybe. Now, if your offense can get over the hump, start putting some better points up, get the run game going, things like that, then I like our chances to end up where Oklahoma wants to go. But yeah, I don't think this derails anything, and understanding that Michael Hawkins is not the Heisman front runner that John Mateer is. But Michael Hawkins is a darn good quarterback. I expect him to have his moments. I expect him to play well, be ready for the moment, especially starting a year ago in Red River and Auburn and these other games. I just think that Ben Arbuckle, the health, the defense, all of the improvements still keep Oklahoma on track.
And that's the thing that you and I both agree on for Oklahoma here is that the identity of this Sooner football team doesn't really change. Like a lot of the talk obviously has been, oh, John Mateer this, John Mateer that, but reality is this is a Brent Venables team that's playing some of the best defense in the country. And as you just mentioned, Travis, this is still a team with a very, very high floor and a team that, especially if they were to get a little bit healthy and Michael Hawkins, if he's able to put up really good numbers, this is a team that's still live to win in every single one of their games. It's not like, okay, they have no shot to beat Texas. What is Texas offense, right? So we're throwing up all these questions about OU's offense without John Mateer potentially for the short term, but what is Texas offensively? So yeah, I think you had a lot of good points here, Travis. We appreciate you being back on the channel. And
For
go
sure.
ahead and make sure to go ahead and tell our viewers and subscribers where they can find your content.
Yeah, I am a host on KREF, KREF, the home of Sooner fans. We're a radio station there in Norman, Oklahoma. The likes of Dari Noka and Teddy Lehman and Chris Plank and all those guys are on our channel. And then I'm a contributor for OU Insider on the Rivals on 3 network. And then I'm also on the JP and Trav show every Wednesday or Thursday. And then this office right here is my team sports consulting group office. We do relational psychology consulting for all of these clients. But if you're watching this and you want to learn about relational science, if you've got kids that play high school sports or collegiate sports, if you yourself play high school sports or collegiate sports, find me at Travis Skoll on Twitter or at Travis Skoll on Instagram, and that is Skol, not Skoal. So, anyways, appreciate you having me as always, Connor. You do a great job.
I appreciate it. And again, we appreciate you being back on with us. And I want to say one last thing. Not only do Travis and I have a lot of similar opinions on the Oklahoma Sooners, we also have the same exact mic here. I just have a little stand here and so yeah, we have a lot of similarities. So yeah.
There you go.
Well, Travis, again, really good job discussing the Oklahoma Sooners, and we look forward to having you back on the channel with us.
Appreciate it. Shoot me a message anytime.